for the sternocleidomastoid, what we need to do first before we can get into our sink and draw is we want to position the head a little differently so that we already get the sternocleidomastoid under some tension. So the way that we do that, let's say I want to work the right hand side first. I'm going to perform ipsilateral rotation. So I'm going in the direction of that right hand side first. And then I'm actually adding some extension of the cervical spine into the mix. And we're going to do that a couple of times. So we go as much into rotation as possible and then add in a little bit of extension, which seems a little bit weird or counterintuitive. Normally we add flexion when we work the neck, but we really want to enhance tension through the sternocleidomastoid there. So we got rotation and extension, and I'm going to do that until there's enough tension in the line there, which I think we've got now, and then we set the head down to rest. You'll actually also see the other sternocleidomastoid come and be a little bit more palpable here, but it's actually the one that's wrapping underneath right now that is going to be our point of focus. We've already introduced tension into it with this arrangement of the neck, and then we're thinking about the insertion point here at the sternoclavicular joint, and I want to get a really nice grip of the insertion, or just inferior to the insertion, so that as I take the tissue and add my pressure in an opposite direction, in a diagonal direction, then I'm going to essentially be pulling on the connective tissues or the myofascia around the sternocleidomastoid. So I position my hand pretty much right on the middle of the chest, just inferior to that sternoclavicular joint. I change my angle a little bit so that I've got the angle that I want, and then I'm going to start to add in a little bit of pressure. And then the idea is that you can even see the addition of extra tension wrapping around the neck here, and likely he's feeling that tension come all the way around, even to the back of the head, where the sternocleidomastoid is originating at the mastoid process. We hold that for a good amount of time. If you're working on someone with breast tissue, of course you would take care as to where your fingers were landing. You could also sub in a soft fist instead of the use of your palm for this. You okay there?
A little less.
A little less? There?
Mm-hmm.
When you start to get a little bit of that creep there happening, it almost feels like that fascial release, that myofascial release. We'll release that. You can sometimes, and we'll see how we go, you can sometimes get a little bit more rotation out of the neck after you've done one application here. We'll go again, but we'll add in a slightly greater angle. So that first touch I was sort of headed more towards the contralateral hip. This time, let's say going more towards the nipple in direction. So take a grip.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to jump in here really quickly to let you know that the Massage Club is once again open for registration. If you're really enjoying this type of learning, this type of Thai massage technique, there's a whole lot more where that came from over there in the club. There's information and a link in the description below for more details.
Of the tissue really close to that sternoclavicular joint, even including the sternum in your pressure. And then I'm going to add in a little bit more angle, and that's where my pressure comes from. So this is more of a sink and draw. You could execute this as more of a pin and stretch if you were to apply this weight first and then get them to move their own head into this position with rotation and extension. Sometimes it can be a little bit hard to describe that to people because mostly the combination of rotation and extension feels a little bit counterintuitive. So, but you might be able to coach them through it. Once you get a little bit of that creep, we'll release that, and we'll do that on the other side. So we'll slowly bring the head back. Being in such significant rotation, it's good to just go nice and slowly in that one. And then we're going to repeat that. So rotation towards the side that you want to work on. So ipsilateral rotation, add in a bit of extension, and do that a couple of times just to see how much rotation you can extract to get the sternocleidomastoid under that pre-tension there. And then we're coming to the sternum, right inferior of the sternoclavicular joint, and then take the heel of your hand, or I'll show you the use of a soft fist here. You can get a soft fist in there as well if you're trying to avoid breast tissue. Get a grip of the tissue and draw it away towards the opposite hip to start with. Pressure-wise, there's good. Great. Personally, this is actually my favorite way to work the sternocleidomastoid period. Sometimes in various massage modalities, we'll actually sort of grip the sternocleidomastoid directly and work it between our thumb and forefinger. I find that that particular method is always extra sensitive, regardless of whether or not the sternocleidomastoid appears to be indicated for treatment. So it's almost a point that we can always go to get that intensity, but whether or not it's needed is questionable sometimes. And so in order to dissipate a little bit that intensity, I really like the use of this myofascial release because it spreads out that stretch nicely amongst the whole length of the muscle. We'll see if we can get a little bit more rotation, not so much that time, a tiny little bit more. And then I'm going to reapply, come back to the center of the chest. This time I'm going to add a little bit more angle with that touch. You'll also notice that when I'm getting a really nice stretch, as I apply more weight, usually what will happen is the chin will start to come back because you've got a good amount of tension in the system there. So when that happens, you know you're getting that bit of compensation, and so you know that the stretch is likely to be sufficiently intense. And we can start to get a nice little creep on there. So once we've got that, we'll release again. And we'll bring the head back nice and slowly to its original position. And that's our first point of access for the superficial front line.
Like I said before, this is just a small example of the things that are possible with a Thai-inspired manual therapy practice. If you're enjoying this type of content, if you've learned a whole bunch here and you want to dive a little bit deeper, the Massage Club is a space where we meet up online every month for a live call that is also recorded if you can't make the live call. And we go through more techniques, and we also workshop different areas of the body and different dysfunctions. So if you have some shoulder things, some neck things, some hip things, or some low back things, or anything else really, month by month we pick certain areas of the body to go through, and I'll teach you new techniques. Some of it will be a review, but then you'll also have an idea of how to help yourself if you're dealing with those types of pains and discomforts, or for the people who you care about the most. Registration for the Massage Club is currently open, but it will be closing up again soon. It would be awesome to see you over there. All the information and the link to register is in the description below.